There is a secret about the gods that they do not teach in any of the temples. The gods envy us because we are mortal. Any moment could be our last. Everything is more beautiful because we are doomed. This is my first attempt at hardcore in Minecraft. I never tried it before because I thought the longer I spent in the world, the more it would hurt to lose it forever. I began this journey of playing in a hardcore Minecraft world on a live stream in October of 2024. This was my first attempt at a hardcore world in Minecraft. I never tried it before because I thought the longer I spent in the world, the more it would hurt to lose it forever. But over the course of 1,000 days in this world, I've discovered something unexpected. For one thing, I'm apparently better at Minecraft than I knew, but also, everything I do in hardcore feels different than regular survival. I've beaten the Yen Dragon many times in Minecraft. It doesn't feel like a significant accomplishment anymore. But in hardcore, every milestone is meaningful. I can boast that I beat the dragon and survived. I fought the Wither. 3 Withers at once, and I'm still alive. I can even unironically declare that I built a house and lived to tell the tale. This is not a forever world. However long it goes on, I know that the moment will come when it all ends. But until the end, there will always be more I can create here. And the longer I last, the greater the accomplishment. I've never had a forever world. For me, it's not the classic 2-week cycle everyone talks about, it's more like a month or 2. But once I've beaten all the bosses and all the other advancements, there seems little point to keep going. But a hardcore world will always have new challenges, because every new day is a milestone. When I first spawned into this world, I explored for a bit until I came upon this village, right on the edge of an ice spikes biome, which is such a unique thing. And part of the village is going over into this ice spikes biome. I made this my first base camp. This little tent here with this bed. That was the first base camp I'd set up. Did a little bit of trading with these villagers. I set up some farms over here on the coastline. The farms are still here. Pumpkins and melons and potatoes and sugarcane and bamboo. Once I had this base camp established, I couldn't help but notice this amazing terrain off in the distance here. And I thought this would be perfect to set up an iron farm. It's just far enough away from the main village back there that it wouldn't link up with it. So I built an iron farm up here. Have all the villagers for the farm down here. The iron farm itself is here. And then just above the iron farm, I built this pumpkin and melon farm. So that gave me a nice trade good to trade with the villagers. Unfortunately, something went wrong. You see I have this labeled cursed chunk. Yeah, this guy here. So certain villagers in certain chunks in this iron farm, whenever I reloaded the game, they would reset to unemployed villagers. It didn't matter how much I traded with them, how much I'd leveled them up. They'd reset to unemployed villagers and then claim whatever random workstation was nearby, not necessarily the one in front of them, so they weren't linked up to the proper workstations. It was a little bit scary, to be honest, because I didn't know why that bug was happening. I moved the villagers to other locations to where that wouldn't happen, although one of these villagers, I think it's this cleric here, still resets every time I load the game into an unemployed villager. But because it's the only one that does it, and this ends up being the only unclaimed workstation when in front of it, it claims that and becomes a cleric again. But it's a very strange bug, and it made me reluctant to stick around here for very long. But I did have some librarians that were leveled up, and I got fully geared up here with fully enchanted diamond gear before moving on from here. Down here with all the chests where I collected the pumpkins and melons and various other drops from the iron farm. And made my first portal into Nether here. Once I got to the Nether, I found a biome that was, shall we say, less than ideal. A basalt delta. Not pleasant. But it was also right next to a fortress. Now, this had pros and cons. This fortress, it was nice that it was right next door. I eventually built this blaze farm right here, so I could get a bunch of blaze rods. Unfortunately, this particular fortress didn't seem to have any netherwort in it, so I had to end up finding another fortress to get netherwort so I could brew potions. Well, I didn't make it to the dragon by day 100, but I did by day 200. Then I spent some time looting an ancient city and an ocean monument before I finally got around to building a mob farm. It was a pretty simple, straightforward design of a farm. I didn't have to go AFK at it for very long to get all of the gunpowder and bone meal I could ever need. Eventually, I went and built a drowned farm right next to it. It's far enough away that it's, you know, I can't AFK at both farms at once. Didn't really need to. Drowned farm. Looks like I've completely emptied it since I last used it. The drowned farm was pretty simple to put together. I remember the mob farm taking me quite a while. It was at least 3 hours to build it. But I got enough stuff from it that I'm not going to run out anytime soon. So let's see if I can remember. Just before day 200, I beat the End Dragon. Then I raided an ancient city and raided an ocean monument. And then I made the mob farm around day 250. That got me lots of gunpowder. So at around day 275, I can blast to the nether for ancient debris. Use that gunpowder to make TNT, and TNT blasts through a nice long tunnel to get the ancient debris I would need to upgrade all my gear to netherite. Once I got the ancient debris, fully upgraded my gear to full netherite, finally got around to fighting the wither. Of course, at the time, the wither was bugged, so it didn't provide the wither effect. Much later, after that bug was fixed, I went back again and fought the wither underground, under this spot. And then after that, set up a beacon and fought 3 withers at once, which explains all the destruction here. It was a little touch and go for a minute there because at least one of the withers got out of range of the beacon. But I managed. They really did wreck the terrain around here, though. With the dragon defeated and the wither defeated and the end raided, well, I had to get into starting to think about building stuff. I set up this froglight farm to give myself lots of froglights. The thing is that it had to be built in a treasure room bastion. Bastions are scary dangerous. Like, really super scary dangerous. I should go ahead and collect some of these while I'm here. But I do love this farm. It provides so many froglights. This bizarre looking structure here is how I was collecting piglin heads. I get some creepers, lead them across the stairs, through here, open the trapdoor and let them fall in. Then I wait for it to rain. Move that sticky pistol with a lightning rod and a channeling trident on it, and it makes charged creepers. Then I put a minecart here and run them through to this portal to take charged creepers to the nether so I could get piglin heads. I didn't realize I had a pet here, but I'm going to leave him here. There's another portal over here. It had to be a certain distance away so that it wouldn't link up to the one the creepers go through, where I could go into the nether to set off the charged creepers. Somewhere around here. Oh, it's up through here. Here's where the piglins are going to end up, and the creeper will end up. I just have to manually put piglins in boats, get them over here into this area, break them out of the boats, and they should be scared away by these soul torches, because they don't like that, and they'll run away into this pit. With the creeper, it comes through the portal and ends up going into that pit. I definitely ought to work on the bridge here. Go off in this direction. I want to show off what I think may be the most dangerous thing I built in this hardcore world. I was very concerned about it. I had a lot of trepidation about building this thing. I put a shulker farm out here. I think I see it in the distance there. There's the shulker farm. This thing was... Whoa. Come down to land here. This thing was terrifying to build. Terrifying. But also incredibly effective. I was low on shulkers, shells, because I'd only raided the end once. So I took the risk of going out here to find a spot to set up this shulker farm. And it was scary, but I did it. And now I have, like, all the shulkers. I got a shulker box full of shulker shells from being AFK at this farm for a couple hours. And other than to show it off for this tour of the world, I probably don't need to bother to ever come back here again. I gotta try and find my way back now. I have learned from exploring the end extensively in the Divergence SMP not to trust the gateways. And if it's possible for me to just fly across the void to get back to the central island, I gotta do it that way. I do not trust the gateways. They're way too dangerous. And I have a nice big render distance. That's one reason I have not gone over to using vibrant visuals, because the render distance is limited to, I think, 24 chunks. I can set to 70 chunks and see the central end island pretty quickly, flying out to it. And now back at World Spawn. In the last 500 days or so of the 1,000 days, I've been working a lot around World Spawn, building it up. I built this farm here to collect honeycomb, and yeah, it's working really good. I have a lot of honeycomb. I do have some things I can use that for, but future projects. I really like how the Torii gates that I built came out, including this one. World Spawn, I believe, is right about where that crying obsidian is. I have a gold farm in here that's underneath these head statues. And I know I could probably improve on it a bit from the way it is now, because the way it works now, there's a switch up on top that I need to push to get it to activate, and then I have to activate to try to kill her down at the bottom. But I have over here a name tag, Zombified Piglin, that this snowman is just shooting snowballs at incessantly, and that aggroes the zombified piglins that come down from the portal, and they rush over here to try and get to the snowman that they're angry at and fall into the pit. I use that instead of using water streams to push the zombified piglins around. And this is the, collection system for the farm that I have to smelt all the swords into gold nuggets, take all the gold nuggets and turn them into gold ingots, and take all the gold ingots using this crafter, turning them into gold blocks, go into this chest, so everything turns into gold blocks. I am actually saving the rotten flesh because I can sell that to clerics. Over here is a house that I built. Let me get a quick aerial view of it here. I think it came out pretty good. The first level is a living space that I made for myself and kind of decorated it out with like a trophy room. And a kitchen area. And an area for my pets, Rocky and Brittany. The bedroom in here. And I set up a little aquarium here. I don't know if you can hear it, but on the floor above, I have some sniffers. So I'm farming some pitcher pods and torchflower seeds. And on the floor above it, I'm planting them to grow into full-size flowers that I can use for various decorations. I do like the buildings that I make to not just look pretty on the outside, but also have a purpose for existing and be decorated on the interior. Not that I've done that a lot, mind you. And through here is the new trade hall that I made. I wasn't happy about the iron farm and the glitchiness with the villagers resetting to novice level. So I set up a new trade hall here. All of these villagers have been zombified and cured, so I get nice discounts. Trading with villagers is like my favorite way to get levels, repair my gear, get experience for enchanting. My favorite way to do that is by trading with villagers. I have a lot of pumpkins and melons from the automatic pumpkin melon farm back at the iron farm. I'm not AFK there or hanging around there very much, but what I have for pumpkins and melons, it'll last me quite a while with all these guys zombified and cured. I think I got most of the professions I need here, except perhaps for librarians. But even librarians, I have most of the major trades, except I don't think I have unbreaking yet from a villager. This guy I'm using to zombify and cure the villagers when I bring them up here. I've set up here for members for my channel, kind of a way to honor them. And at some point I have to look at updating this, because I don't know that I have all of the newest members in here. But all of the members have been honored with a nice dancing statue. And that's what I needed the piglin heads for. So thanks to all those members. And you can see here there is more room for expansion in this trade hall. I can add more villagers. When I think of villagers that I need, I might add some more. I also put in the central courtyard this nice little fishing pond and garden. Kind of like the way it's decorated. Looks nice. The second floor is currently for my mass storage. All of my stuff is stored in chests here. I have lots of extra capacity for storage that I haven't touched on using yet. And also enchanting table set up here. Super smelter here. This is as super of a super smelter as I ever have need for. I personally just don't usually smelt a whole lot of stuff, so I don't need a super duper giant massive smelter. I don't need to mess with that. But you can see half this upper floor completely open. Free space for whatever I want to build here, and I haven't figured out what yet. Out this way I built a nice road here that leads down to the nearest village. This is the village where I've been getting all of the villagers from for the trade hall. And I walled off the village to protect them. And actually ran a raid here at one point. But I don't really use Totems of Undying. But I did run a raid before I fought the Wither because I wanted to have a Totem of Undying when I fought the Wither. Just to be on the safe side. But normally I don't use Totems of Undying. I'd rather use a shield. I'd rather use a shield. I feel like I can block all attacks with it and absorb all the damage on the shield, and it's just, I think it's better than a Totem of Undying. Keeps me alive better. But this village is probably going to be my next project. I have done very little with it, except putting the walls around the outside of it. And I want to upgrade these standard default villager houses into something that looks a little nicer, a little fancier. But that's what I've done with my first 1,000 days in this hardcore world. Most of what I've done here, I've done on streams, on live streams. For one thing, I figure it keeps me honest. For the other thing, when the inevitable comes that I do end up dying in this hardcore world, I want to have a live reaction to it. Where you can see my ugly face in dismay as I lose everything I've worked so hard on. But until then, there's still more projects to work on, expanding the trade hall, improving the nearby village, adventures to go on, like clearing out an ancient city. I've raided one before, but just, briefly entered it to get Swift Sneak, and once I got that, I ran away. But I could actually fully clear out an ancient city. Lots to work on. and I intend to continue to stream weekly this hardcore world. I'm really excited to see how much more I can do and how much more beautification of the world I can accomplish in the next 1,000 days. If you think hardcore isn't for you, I'm not going to try and change your mind. All I can say is I didn't think hardcore was for me. As a child, every day you experience something new for the first time. As you grow older, this seems to happen less often, but I think it's something to aspire for. What's the most recent thing you have seen or done for the first time? How long ago was that? Am I even talking about Minecraft or real life? Now, regardless, hardcore has made things that were routine seem new again. I've been living in this world for a long time now, and to my surprise, I'm still finding new things to do.